It's not every day you see story DLC for a Yakuza game. Historically, the series DLC content has mostly been relegated to items and outfits in the case of Yakuza Like a Dragon. But Lost Judgment marks the first time the series gets a story-focused DLC, so how did it fare? Well, I'm pleased to say that RGG has yet to miss, as this is one of the most tightly paced and engaging narratives in the Yakuza game. So stick around, as in a few words I want to talk about how good this DLC really is. Lost Judgment: The Kaito File sees us take control of Masaharu Kaito, one of the greatest symbols ever introduced in the Yakuza universe, and with Yagami out of town working on another job, what starts out as a simple case for Kaito quickly embroils into a personal journey that sees us look into his past as well as arriving to some twists and turns that never pull any punches. The usual format of RGG storytelling is ever present here, and even if it may feel familiar, you can see they've started to experiment and shake things up for a bit, which, although small, it still impacts the overall presentation. You can at times feel how tight the budget here really was, so the more tinkering, the better, in my opinion. For example, some cutscenes feature some interesting camera works, like in this scene. Or this one, where the camera lingers around Shiro's face, writhing in pain. I just really love the framing and the subtle camera wobble. Also, this time around, the series' three-way dialogue structure, as I like to call it, not fully voiced, hand-animated voice cutscenes, and full-blown cutscenes is now just the last two, and more often than not, the game does have a healthy balance between both. From here on out, I'm discussing spoilers, so if you haven't beaten it yet, skip to the time marked on the screen. The narrative upholds the same quality as the main games, and it's impressive how even with its short length, it manages to fit that consistency. The new characters introduced are strong and compelling, not only in their beliefs, but determinations as well. Jun trying to find his mother, Mikiko and her bravery towards her loved ones and goals, and the man of the show himself, Kaito, who goes through a really compelling character arc as the story explores some of his most happy and regretful moments, and in turn results into a more nuanced and emotional exploration of Kaito's character, as he also deals with the possible fact of Jun being his own son at the time. It's super cool and engaging seeing this plot unravel from start to finish, even if a few elements feel a bit cliched and predictable. For example, given the game this time around has a small pool of characters to juggle through compared to the mainline games, it becomes fairly obvious who the main antagonist here is, not only through his mannerisms but also how sketchy he often presents himself. There's also Yasutaka, who helps Mikiko the night she disappeared, who is an interesting character, but I feel he should have gotten more screen time to fully flesh him out. RGG has no qualms in pushing for violence in their games, and the final act really showcases this, when Kiyoya poisons the drink or Shusuke snapping his neck. It's not so much the idea behind it, but how the scenes are played out, showcasing how gruesome these actions unroll. Not that I'm complaining, by the way. This was just another reminder that when they want to, RGG can go above and beyond to portray stuff like this. I overall enjoy my time with the story, the new characters, its length, and how it all feels like it's wrapped up in this nice present with a bow tie on it. Gameplay can be said the same. Given this is a DLC, majority of the mechanics present in Lost Judgment are here present, like detailing, chases, stealth, and investigation mode. Without going too deep, I'd like to point out a really cool quality of life feature of stealth. The stealth in Lost Judgment overall is really bad, and the game would really benefit from a redesign or completely ditching it. I'll touch upon this in another video, but to sum it up, in Lost Judgment when you get caught, it's an instant game over, but here, if you get caught, you get an opportunity to defend yourself, which reduces your health, but it's better than restarting the whole thing, which works. Other small stuff is an ability that lets you wear outfits whenever you want, which is really cool. The structure of combat remains the same, as Kaito, similar to Yagami, has an EX boost and mortal reversals. The major difference here is the combat styles, with Bruiser and Tank being his bread and butter. Bruiser is a more aggressive technique that encompasses brutal punch attacks and evasion, while Tank is a more defensive style that allows Kaito to absorb enemy blows and grab nearby weapons automatically. In essence, these styles can be boiled down into the Brawler and Beast styles from Kiryu in Yakuza 0, as they both function exactly the same as Kaito in practice. Seeing these styles translated into the Dragon Engine make them feel exhilarating once you're fully upgraded, but sometimes it sets quickly how basic they can feel compared to Yagami's more flexible 4 styles. The soundtrack accompanying both is also perfect. I still need to get used to Tank's theme, but Brawler is my jam. Speaking of upgrades, just like in Lost Judgment, alongside the available upgrades, you'll have to find specific items to unlock some. Here, they are points of interest scattered around Kamurocho, where Kaito will reminisce about a certain event from his past, and it will unlock a specific ability. Interesting idea in concept, but if you got no context about the events of the first Judgment game and some of the details of Kaito's past, it can be a chore to search for them without a guide. The overall length to beat this DLC is exactly 7 to 8 hours, and if you add the extra content, side stories are not included by the way, it levels at 10 full hours of available content for this DLC. The asking price for this is $30 depending on your region, and for some players this can feel like a big ask, given the total amount of playtime for this DLC. I got it through the Season Pass, which is another point I'll discuss in a future Lost Judgment analysis, and I'll honestly say wait until it's on sale. I don't really feel the amount of content present warrants such a high price when you compare it to what's already out there, but that's just me. Overall, I had a fun time with the DLC, how short and concise it is, to the point, and a fun exploration of a character we all know and love. And if the rumors about Takuya Kimura's agency end up being true, Kaito might as well star as the main protagonist of the next Judgment sequel, given how future-proof this project feels.